My name is Teresa K. Thomas. I am a Tarrant County Master Gardener. Our program today is Sustainable Living. This presentation is supported by our regional water supplier, Tarrant Regional Water District. TRWD maintains 4 area lakes and pipelines needed to provide the surface water to our local water treatment plants so that they can clean it to meet the drinking standards needs for our community. They also work with many cities in the Tarrant County area, such as Fort Worth, Arlington, and Mansfield, to provide water conservation programs for the community. Conservation is an important water supply strategy to help meet the needs of our growing population. There are currently over 2 million people in the Tarrant County area, and this is expected to double over the next 50 years. That is why TRWD supports many programs that help save water through outdoor watering and gardening education. At SaveTarrantWater.com, you can sign up for the free weekly watering advice custom to your area. If you're a resident of Tarrant County, you can sign up for the free sprinkler system. A licensed irrigator comes out and gives you a comprehensive evaluation of your system. How to use our natural resources in our home and around our home. We're going to talk about water conservation. We're going to talk about gardening, how to prepare your soil, how to mulch, how to do compost, and how to use plants. And talk about some other stuff as we go. There are 2 basic methods of sustainable living if we live in a home, if we own a house, even an apartment. Water conservation and plant selection. Water conservation in our urban areas, about 25% of that water supply is used for landscape and garden irrigation. A lot of that water is used in high water demand landscapes, and it's just simply not applied efficiently. In an attempt to reduce excess water use, we're educating the Texans on the principle of earth-kind landscape to help preserve and protect our most valuable natural resource, and I'm saying our most valuable natural resource. How many times have you seen this or this? It is our responsibility to make sure that our water is used wisely. An irrigation system audit will show the best way, the most effective way to get the best water use in your landscape. For Fort Worth residents, TRWD offers the free sprinkler check. And sometimes some of the other cities in the area, you just need to call your city and parks recreation department. You can do your own inspection of your site. You can look for leaks or clogged heads or the tubing. You can look at each head at each zone to see if they're working properly and if they're watering the right area, proper area, that all the areas have been covered and no water is going into the areas that are not being watered, such as driveways, sidewalks, fences, and other people's yard, all the hard space. At each setting, you can buy these little plastic containers at your box stores and measure the water each time, whether you're running 15 minutes or you're running it 30. You can just take a tuna can and see how much water. And when you have your sprinkler checks, something that you can ask the irrigation company about. Drip irrigation is the most efficient way to water your beds. It is a slow drip that waters the roots only. As you can see in the pictures, the bottom one is a system laid out. The top left picture is a picture of Metafilm that most people use. It has emitters in there that let the water drip out. You lay it on top of the soil, close to your plants. You plant close to the emitters, and it will water the roots and the soil around. It won't water the leaves. It just soaks into the soil. And it does like a soaker hose. A lot of us have used soaker hose. And on the top right is an example of a soaker hose. You can get these at your irrigation stores. You can get these at box stores. They come in kits, which if you've never done one before, this is the best way to go because you get it for the area that you need. And start small. And try it in one area. It hooks up to your water faucet real easy. So that's not a problem. If you want to have a control box, it will work with a control system. How about trying to collect some rainwater? It will save you money on your water bill. It reduces demand for the municipal water supply. It makes efficient use of a very valuable natural resource. It reduces flooding, erosion, and contamination of surface water that has sediments in it, and pesticides and fertilizer that go into the drain from the runoff. This shows two rainwater harvesting collections. The one on the left is a rain barrel. It's hooked up to a gutter system that has a piping down into the rain barrel. At the bottom of that rain barrel is a faucet that you can hook up to a hose. The hose, you can fill it up and use it in buckets, or you can use it for a trough to feed wildlife, or you can run the water hose to a flower bed. It needs to be elevated because it needs that elevation to cause the flow of water. The one on the right is a rain tank or a cistern, and it is also hooked up to a gutter system. They probably need it because they have more use for the collection of rainwater. If you'll note that 1 inch of rain on a 1,000 square foot roof yields 600 gallons of water. Here's 11 ways to save water indoors. Older toilets use up to 4 times more water per flush, so you might want to upgrade, and sometimes you can get rebates for upgrade. Check for leaks and drips throughout your house and replace the faucet or the washer, whatever you need to do. Each minute you shave off your shower time, you save up to 2.5 gallons. Select an Energy Star approved washing machine. They say they use 5 to 20 less gallons per load. Put a new shower head in. Some of those will save up to 1 gallon per minute. Know where your master shutoff. If you have a leak, you know where to shut off that water so you don't lose as much water. When you use a dishwasher, fill it up. Instead of pre-rinsing, you scrape instead of pre-rinsing. It saves you 20 gallons of water per scraping food off your dishes instead of pre-rinsing. And turn the water off when you brush your teeth. And if you wash dishes, turn that water off as you wash dishes. I know I'm really bad about that. I don't have a dishwasher, so I wash my dishes, I run the water and rinse them and put them in the stacker. But you need to turn the water off between using it. we're going to talk about how we can use some of our natural resources in a garden bed. The first thing you need to do is soil testing. And you do ask why. And the reason is several reasons. First of all, it will save you money in the long run. If you have it analyzed, it will help you reveal what nutrients you have and what nutrients you lack. That will give you a better growth of anything you plant. In the soil, by applying only the type and the amount of nutrients you need, you will reduce the pollution of the runoff and of the ground water contamination. So you need to prepare your soil. You want to clean off all the vegetation, all the roots, all the weeds, make a nice clean area like this picture shows. You're going to add 1 to 3 inches of expanded shale. You're going to add 3 inches of compost. You want it about 6 inches above what you've cleaned off. You can also mound it a little bit so when you water and when you plant, that water will run off, that excess will run off into the ground. Compost is without a doubt the best soil amendment for your plants. In addition, it's helping recycle nutrients that the plant needs. It also helps infiltrate our soil with more water and holds that water during the dry season. Plus, it keeps the food and the landfill landscape waste out of the landfills. Composting is organic waste that is converted into a nutrient-rich soil amendment. It's an old practice. It goes back to the Old Testament, the Chinese writings. Our forefathers used it when they were dedicated gardeners. Today's gardeners also see the value of combining kitchen scraps, vegetable peels, and soil fruits, eggshells, with leaves and grass clippings. At a certain ratio, they turn it and add a little water to it, and that turns that waste into the best soil conditioner that your garden can have. It begins in the kitchen. So when you have some unused food, keep a little container on your cabinet, under your sink. After it gets full, take it out and dump it in your compost bin outside. There's several compost bins you can use. You can build your own. You can have bins, make your own bin. You can make tumblers. So you can do it many ways. They have the cold compost that you can just pile it and turn it and just leave it, and eventually, it takes longer, it will make compost. Then annually add a good layer of mulch. The value of mulch. Experienced gardeners know that mulch is one of the best methods of growing healthy plants and conserving the water at the same time. Mulch is simply a protector, a ground covering protection that saves water, reduces evaporation, prevents erosion, controls weeds, and in case of organic mulches, it enriches the soil. There are several types of mulch out there. You get the one that works best for you. Hardwood works great in this area, plus your cedar mulch, but you have to add anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of mulch annually, and it protects your beds. and your plants. We've talked about water conservation. We've talked about compost. We've talked about mulch. We've talked about how to prepare your bed and what to put in it. So we're going to talk about plants. Drought tolerant, native, and well adapted plants. They save water. Once they're established, they will survive. They're deep rooted. They improve our water quality because we don't use pesticides. They don't need to be fertilized. They're used to our climate and our conditions. They provide food, shelter, and water for wildlife year-round. Some of the animals depend on specific plants, such as your bumblebees, your butterflies, your monarchs, your moths. And they're so easy to maintain. You cut them back early in January and February, and then you go back in and trim them in July or something like that, so that they will bloom beautifully in the fall. They are year-round. You can pick seasonal plants, so you'll have color all year round. And they give you a sense of place. They're distinguished. They're interesting to our landscape. They make us feel like we live in North Texas. They're unique to our area. Here are some of the plants, just a few. There is a list that we can give you that gives you lots more plants. These grow well in our area. We have, in our demo garden, I don't think we have the cedar sage, but we have the others, and they've been there for several years. So this is just a list. It doesn't have to be ugly. When I first came on board as a Master Gardener in 2009, there was very few natives. We used cactus and red yuccas, and they're both really great plants. But now we have grasses that we can use. We have more color available. Pictures of some of the landscapes. When we talk about sustainable living, I think we should mention our edible landscape. What is an edible landscape? You can take a garden where you're growing native plants or any type of even non-native plants, and you can add attractive food-producing plants in the garden. So they don't have to all be ornamental. And you're planting food crops. It can be created any style. It offers fresh, affordable, and a variety of blooming plants with ever-changing season. Sometimes flowers are as healthy and in nutrients as the rest of the plant itself. Sometimes they're called weeds. I think about the daffodils. The flowers on most of our herbs are healthy to eat. Most flowers are edible or overlooked by most people. Certain flowers are great sources of vitamin D. A lot will provide the home for the butterflies, bees, and birds. Here's just a couple or 4 pictures that show where they've added plants plus vegetables of some type to their garden. And doesn't that look wonderful? There's your Blackfoot daisy. There's over here is they've done a a bed of herbs, put some grasses in there. This tomatoes, there in the background you see some orange flowers, maybe blue mist or autumn's fall aster. I'm not sure what that is. And here they've done the same thing. They've prepped their bed like we would, like we mentioned. Just a thought. Here are some edible flowers. Tulips are not only pretty, but the petals are eatable. Dandelions, baby's breath, bee-balm, daylilies, rose petals. Isn't that wonderful? We just mentioned the grasses here. You have your native grasses, your buffalo grass, your zoya, your Bermuda grass, your fescue grass, your St. Augustine, which is the most popular in this area. But remember, you have to figure out what works in your area. So study the notes of the varieties so you'll know what you need for your environment. Remember, often deep shade areas do better with native ground covers. This is some of the resources we used. AgriLife Extension, the Native Plant Society, Texas Smartscape, Texas Superstar. The last email is our website, tarrantmg.org. The phone number here, 817-844-1945, is our help desk. You can call anytime from on Monday through Friday and Saturday from 8:30 to 4:30. They will be glad to answer any questions. This was where you'd call and get a soil kit. They will send it out from the office so it will be made available for you. So if any questions, please give them a call. Thank you for coming tonight. When the weather gets pretty again, take a walk or bike ride or hike. Spending time with friends and family at the local nature center, preserve, park, garden, or prairie is not only good for you mentally and physically, but it's good for the health of the planet. This time of year, you'll fall in love again with all the amazing flowers and shrubs and trees and wildflowers along the way. Think about bringing gloves and some extra trash bags, and you can pick up litter along the trail. You might be surprised how much fun you'll have and how much your local green space can use a little love. The biggest source of water pollution is debris from our urban areas, and the more we pick up, the more our entire community will benefit.